What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review, and this time we're taking a look at Mimic 3 Sentinel, the third and final installment into the Mimic Trilogy. This film is directed by T.J. Petty. Okay, let's waste no time. Let's make the review short and sweet and possible. Mimic 3 is a bad movie, and it's not bad because it sucks. It's bad because it's boring. This is a boring movie. With the exception of maybe a handful of things, which is really the appearance of Lance Henriksen, and just him alone, this movie is just a flat-out bore fest. I've never been so bored watching a movie before than Mimic 3. This movie tries to be like Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window, but it doesn't have that kind of style. It doesn't have that kind of finesse. T.J. Petty as a director, he's just so pedestrian, it's not even funny. You can clearly tell that this man has no originality whatsoever in his bones. Now, the idea of a mimic movie acting like a Rear Window can be an interesting concept if it's done correctly and somebody with actual talent and not a film student who just wants to make his first movie. This movie is just so boring. It's just really boring. It's 77 minutes, but it feels like 177 minutes. That's just how boring this is. The characters in this movie are just stock generic. The character of Marvin is slightly interesting because he was one of the last children to survive the Judas breed, but as an effect, he has a hypersensitivity. He has a hypersensitivity to allergies, so he's constantly indoors, and he's a photographer, and he does amateur photography. But when Jimmy Stewart did it in Rear Window, it made sense because he's an actual photographer. He's a professional photographer. When Marvin does it, it's just weird. It's like, why are you doing that? Just why? Why are you doing this? You know, the movie tries to play it off as a quirky trait, but it comes across as just eerie and creepy and stalkerish. It's like, yeah, Marvin doesn't come across as likable, and I'm supposed to like this character. Not to mention the actor playing Marvin, he really doesn't have he doesn't really have that much charisma to him as well. He's kind of boring. Right, the character of Marvin is kind of boring. His sister Rosie, that actress, she's annoying. His sister acts annoying. She has an annoying voice. She has an annoying everything. This movie tries to establish a love interest with a girl named Carmen, and it's just boring as well. There's no chemistry whatsoever with these two actors. Like, they just don't mesh too well at all. What's supposed to be, like, you know, kooky and it's just not played. The actors are just not good enough to make this relationship believable. And you have Amanda Plummer, who is another good actress, and she's wasted in this movie as a doting mom. She does absolutely nothing, and her death scene is just so, it has no emotional impact on me because she was just not an important character at all. Like I said, Lance Henriksen, he's the only, like, how you get Lance Henriksen in your movie and you do absolutely nothing with him, that should be a crime. Lance Henriksen is awesome, and he's in this movie just playing a nothing character that's slightly villainous. He plays a character called the Garbage Man, and Marvin becomes suspicious of him. It pretty much, the Garbage Man is a stand-in for Raymond Burr's character of Thorwald in Rear Window. Only this movie does it in a way where it's completely completely stock forgettable, and I don't remember why Marvin became suspicious of the Garbage Man, to be honest with you. I forgot. That's because this movie's just not good. The special effects, I don't know how you downgraded from Mimic 2 to this. I mean, the special effects in this movie are not that great. I mean, you get some practical effects that look okay when they're done in quick shots, but the CGI looks worse. Like, the CGI in this movie just doesn't look that good either. Like this, like T.J. Petty, he tries and fails to recapture Guillermo del Toro's vision when it comes to Mimic. At least the director of Mimic 2, you can tell that man tried. T.J. Petty, I don't think he's trying. I just think he's just, I literally think he's just taking notes of what happened and just like, here, do it, without actually fully studying them. At least the director of Mimic 2 tried to imitate Del Toro. T.J. Petty is just, he thinks he's mimicking Del Toro when he's really not. Like, this movie has no atmosphere to it, has no suspense. It just feels like it's taking 25 years just to get going or do something interesting, which it does. Like, backing away from the whole action horror aspect of these movies was not a good idea. These movies are meant to be action horror. They're meant to have suspense. They're meant to like have no to create some excitement. You know, you're not going to get the most thought-provoking characters, but at least you have actors that give the characters some charisma, so that way you will each latch onto them and start to like them. Even though I don't think Mimic 2 was all that great, the actors at least made me care about the certain characters to an extent. This movie, I got none of that. These characters are boring. These actors just look like they just don't want to be there. Not only that, certain characters make stupid decisions, and this movie tries to do a twist that when you look at it from a logical standpoint, it's like, how did you not put 2 and 2 together? You had this book. Not once did you ever consider the fact that the garbage man was actually a roach professor who wrote a book that you own in your possession. The movie tried to play it off as this grand reveal, and it comes across as like, how did you not know this? Not to mention, the whole climax of this movie is just flat out boring. Like, this is just a boring movie. I'm glad I only saw this movie once. I don't need to see it again. Yeah, Mimic 3, I don't have nothing else to say. It's a boring movie. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10. Don't watch it. It's garbage. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.